And we are live.
Cool.
Bonus episode number 3 with Stat Guy Rice. A little special guest tonight because we're degenerates. That's why.
I feel like I haven't done an episode in a while.
Have you ever been live?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but not when it was good. Not when it was good. I think I got it pretty good now.
Man, Christian really didn't like that I had a fantasy football draft, huh?
He wished death upon all your players.
Yeah, he wanted them. No, it wasn't death. It was torn ACLs for all my players.
Pretty much. That's football death.
He was worried that I drafted Giants.
What?
There's only one player worth drafting on the Giants.
What round? What round pick did you get?
I had the 3rd pick because I did terrible last year. I went with Christian McCaffrey.
But wasn't that your keeper or something?
I did draft him last year, but I drafted him in the 1st round last year, and you can't keep first rounders. I just happened he was the guy that I wanted early on.
So what we're gonna do, and I'm sorry, I'm very distracted all the time. Just retweeting this live broadcast out there. We're gonna recap the 2nd and 3rd games of. Well, really, we're just gonna kind of go over the Seattle series. They're a waste of a team this year. Also,
there's a lot of wasted teams out there.
You could definitely see the difference between Seattle and Baltimore is that they are going to have some decent young talent. Plus, they have Seager. Seager's a beast, man.
Oh, you're saying Seattle. I thought you were saying Baltimore. Yeah, no.
No. The
Seattle
difference
does have some talent.
But
I mean, they started the year 13-2, and they're the worst team in baseball since then.
For the Yankees to come out of that West Coast road trip 5-4, I predicted 6-3.
I said 5-4.
Christian predicted 4-5, or at least he said he would be okay with 4-5. And I said, and you said 5-4, which they were, which was pretty crazy considering they got swept.
Yeah, if you told me they went 5-4 on this West Coast trip after starting 0-3, I wouldn't have believed you.
And anyone who's watching or listening, if you want to call into us, the phones are live right now. 973-826-2205. If you're listening on iTunes tomorrow when this is out, you can leave us a rating and review on iTunes. Please, 5 stars. If you don't do 5 stars, don't do it at all. Okay? And this will be up on our YouTube page, NYYST YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Give us a few thumbs up. Okay, that's out of the way. We are dropping our new Sanchez shirt soon. It's so awesome.
It's my favorite one yet.
That's coming out next week. If you want to head to our fan shop, just go to NYYSportstalk.com, click the link for the fan shop. If you use promo code Susan, SUZYN, at checkout, no one will know that code unless you listen or watch the show. Buy one, get a t-shirt for $1. $1.
Well, Susan, I thank you.
However,
that's a great
Isn't that
deal.
A good deal, man?
That's a deal.
We got it. We got so many orders right now. And it's like
good.
Shit.
Well, I'm actually very
impressed. Want that many.
I'm impressed by your designs lately, man. You're coming up with all these cool.
Well, I got
graphics.
to give a shout out to Liam.
Yeah.
Liam's our graphics guy, but he's a younger kid. He's gearing up for school. He does so much for us on the website. We have a lot of writers, a lot of content writers, and he's constantly just posting stuff, on publishing stuff on the site. The kid's so busy. He does it just to have something on his resume one day. He just does awesome work. I'm trying not to overload him with because his graphics are unreal.
Yeah, he does a good job. Great job.
And a lot of our stuff on the shop are Liam's designs. So we thank him as well. But let's get to these games. So I kind of recapped game 1 already.
Mm-hmm.
But game 2, we had... Who pitched the first game?
The first game of this series was Happ versus
It was Happ, right?
Whistler.
Happ looked pretty good.
Yeah, he gave up.
And I said in my recap of that game, he didn't have his control like he normally does. He walked 3 guys, I believe, in 5 innings. But his off-speed stuff, when he was locating it, he was really good, man. It was filthy.
And wasn't it a 3-run ding? he allowed? He
It
allowed
was
3
a
runs.
3-run
It was
ding.
all in one swing.
It was to some loser.
Yeah, he was like the 8th or 9th hitter.
More. Kid's like 12.
Yeah, he looks very young.
But
No, it's,
So, I mean,
he only gave
Happ-
up 2 hits. 2 hits that game.
yeah, Hap looked good. And then I said this, and we all know my prediction of Paxton against the Dodgers.
The God.
Pretty much dead
That's
on.
a solid one.
It was pretty much dead on. I said something very important, I think, after that. I said the one thing you want to see out of James Paxton moving forward, he doesn't have to be as dominant as he was that night, but you want to see him build off of this. You don't want to see him go back to being the guy who gets shelled in the first inning.
The 2 straight starts, he hasn't gotten shelled in the first.
He did exactly what I said he had to do. And he came out there, no, he wasn't as dominant, but he didn't need to be. He gave us another good outing. And that's all you needed out of him. And with each game now, you got to get more and more confident with James Paxton.
Yeah.
And then, man, Tanaka
Well, that
once again.
That was the last game, right? Yeah. Paxton pitched game 3. Tanaka was game 2.
Here's when Tanaka is his best. Ready? Either a big time regular season game, a game against another Japanese pitcher, or the postseason.
Yeah, and just in
in
Seattle
those
in general.
3 instances, Masahiro Tanaka is absolutely dominant every single time.
Yeah, I was reading an article today of Fangraphs on Masahiro Tanaka, and ever since he said this to Japanese reporters, I made big adjustments on his splitter after he allowed 12 earned against Boston, and he's actually gripping his splitter a bit differently.
Well,
now.
one thing about Tanaka, and it goes without saying, really, he lives and dies on that splitter.
Mm-hmm.
So when that thing's off, he's not. He sometimes he's good enough to get around it and still get through the game. But in the games when Masahiro Tanaka is lights out, that splitter is one of the best pitches in baseball. Truly, it truly is.
Spin rate's better. All these stats, man. I don't even know.
I don't even know what the fuck that means. Spin rate. Like I do, but how do you even read that chart?
It's something. Well, I know Adam Ottavino, when he was in the off season, he set up a bunch of cameras in his. He rented out a facility in Harlem, and he measured by having cameras set up all alongside him, and then he would watch himself, and that's how it's like measured via camera.
You know who does that shit, right?
Trevor Bauer.
Trevor Bauer was
Yeah,
like,
he was the one that got him into it. I think he told him about what cameras to use, and ever since Ottavino did that, he has been an elite.
Anyone
reliever.
watching right now, can you just leave us a quick comment just so I can see how it pops up? Because the last show I did was at like 3. The last couple of shows are at like 3 in the morning. So no one.
Yeah, how do you do? Didn't you have work the next day?
Yeah. All right. So pitching's been good. I said this also my last bonus episode, and I said this to you. Just like the hitting, man, this pitching is contagious. The good pitching is contagious.
Totally.
I mean, when the Yankees starting pitching sucks, it sucks all the way through. Each one after the next. But when this pitching is on, they seem to all feed off of one another. Just like the offense. It's very important.
Were you like that when you played baseball? Did you feel that when the guy who pitched the day before you or whoever you were relieving?
No.
Is it different for you because you were more of a relief pitcher?
No, it wasn't different because I was a relief pitcher. It was different because we didn't play every single day.
Uh-huh.
So like in college, right? I think, I don't fully remember, but you only have so many games in a week, and only over the weekend are you actually playing important games in your conference that mean anything. The one thing that I would feed off of is just the energy. Like when I was a freshman in college, it was the best season I've had in all my years playing baseball. I made the all rookie team. My slider was pretty good.
You had great numbers that year.
So I always go back to that season because my second season I got fucking lit up. I felt like every single time I went out. I always go back to that year, and I really feeding off the energy of the older guys, the seniors, like my buddy Chris Mattson, right? He was our big time conference pitcher before I got there, and then he turned into the closer. I was a setup man, so I knew a big game that I was coming into, that we were up a couple runs in the eighth. That if I got through that inning, I was handing the ball off to Mattson. He was coming in throwing 95. Guy's like 5'2", throwing 95 miles an hour, and shutting him down, and we were winning the game. And you feed off of that within the game, within your team. We were a good team. We made it to the conference championship that year. You feed off of that, which I guess is the same thing when you're playing a 162 game season and you're playing as well as the Yankees have all year. You feed off of you still feed off of each other the same way. The only difference is you're going to get a lot more fatigued in a 162 game season, obviously. So it's just different. Like during the week, I barely pitched. I would have bullpen sessions and simulated games and stuff, but I barely pitched because those games didn't. In college, your games that are non-conference literally mean nothing.
I didn't even realize that it was a weekend type of thing.
It was every weekend. I think maybe once in a while they threw in a conference game, but during the week, those games didn't matter. So you're just kind of feeding off of each other over the weekend. We're still playing well in the games that didn't matter. So, yeah, I mean, that's just, it goes the same way. And why I brought up the fact that you really fed off the older guys, the seniors of the team, because you knew they were hungry for a championship before they graduated. Same thing goes for guys like Gardner and CeCe, especially CeCe, because this is his last year. These guys are hungry right now. CeCe Sabathia wants to end his Yankee career. He wants to bookend them with 2 championships. He came here in 2009 and he won it. And he's going out in 2019 and he wants to win it again. And I think if he does that, he's going to walk away from his career and be completely satisfied.
Definitely. That's a great way to go out.
Another thing we have to talk about in that series, well, we'll get to these two because I'm sure there's not much to say. Mike Ford is on steroids now. Easily. How many home runs did he have?
Well, he had one against the Dodgers that last game, and then he had 2 to open up the series against the Mariners, and then I think he had another 1 or 2.
Crazy, man. So funny. Christian was texting me, and I think he was like a little bit serious. He was like, "Can you delete the audio when I was ripping Mike Ford?"
You want to know what's funny? It made me think about something, and we are all terrible at evaluating first base talent for the Yankees, and I'll tell you why. A few years ago, my friend Justin came over to do his fantasy baseball draft, and I was, he wanted to come over and I'd help him out, figure out what picks. And my only bit of advice for him was one thing. I said, dude, draft Greg Bird. This guy is going to be a stud.
That's not your fault, though.
All right, but then that's on me. That's Greg Bird was my miss.
Can you stop putting your hand in my side of the camera?
Yes, I'm going to fucking punch you. Then last year, you had a terrible take on Luke Voit, right?
Why?
You said some tweet about Luke Voit.
Yeah.
Really, just freezing cold take.
I'm actually going to find it in his next, if he's back and healthy and through October he's playing and has some good games, I'm going back and finding that tweet and retweeting it. And I literally said, I never want to see this guy in a Yankee uniform ever again.
And now Christian is the latest one with his terrible Mike Ford take. Because it seems like whenever
because these guys are nobodies when they get here.
Talk about these guys, the opposite happens.
They're nobodies.
I mean, dude, he hits with a lot of power. His balls don't just go. They're not cheapies. He hits bombs.
He hits dingers.
Ding, ding, ding.
So Mike Ford, the best news about the Yankees' newest hot streak, because that's what they seem to do. And I said this a couple episodes ago on our main episodes. They lose a few games, you start to feel down about them, and then they turn it right back on, man. And they just go on a tear. And the best part about this for me isn't the good pitching, because I know what these guys are capable of. I know they can be good. It's the fact that Aaron Judge looks like Aaron Judge again. I think that is so important, obviously, to this team going into September, because you're going to want to rest him a little more, and you're going to feel more comfortable resting him because he seems like he's found it again.
Yeah, he's pulling the ball, right? Getting some left field homers.
Well, the biggest thing...
That first pitch, though, he saw his 100th home run was on the first pitch. He just hit a bomb to center.
The biggest thing with Judge that I've noticed from when he looked like shit to now, on that inside pitch, he's not getting alligator armed. You know, he's not coming in tight. He's actually getting some extension with his arms on that inside pitch. And the way you do that is with torque, with your core, really opening up the right way, keeping your front shoulder in, but opening up and getting extension with your arms, and still hitting the sweet spot on the bat with that ball and opening up your hips. He was favoring that oblique still, and he was scared, I think maybe subconsciously, to open up and really turn on that. And now you're starting to see him pull the ball to left field, which I don't give a shit where he hits home runs or where he hits doubles or singles.
Yeah, I don't care.
He could hit him to right field all day, but it doesn't mean it's not important to see him do it right now because of the injury. And it's proving to everyone and himself that he's fully healthy now.
6 home runs his last 9 games.
That's unreal.
He's up to 18
But that's
now.
Aaron Judge. I mean, he's back to being Aaron Judge.
And that's why having a guy like that is just, at least he comes off this way, and I think it's true, is he's so level-headed, and
Yes.
he's got such a good head on his shoulders that he knows what he's capable of.
And who else is that way, though? Not a player.
At Booney?
Booney.
I was trying to make that comparison there.
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with Boone, man. He is just doing a great job managing this guy. He has them
really
believing
is.
in him, where they're going to listen to what he has to say, and they're going to believe what he has to say. And that's not easy to do in modern baseball.
I'm not worried about Aaron Boone managing the postseason at all anymore. I have full confidence in him now.
He's found the right formula, man. He knows what he's doing. I love what he's kind of started this thing where he's using Ottavino and Canely together, where it'll be one and then the next comes in right after. They are the perfect 1-2 punch together because they're both right-handed. But Ottavino, he's more of an away pitcher to righties.
Well, that ball moves out. That ball turns out
that
naturally.
Slider. And then you get Canely comes in, who's so effective with that changeup against lefties. I mean, it's crazy how fast that turned in baseball, how it used to be lefty specialists and all that. But now you're just seeing hard-throwing right-handers that use that changeup to complement their speed. And you don't need that lefty-on-lefty matchup anymore. Can we also talk about how crazy the Yankees have been against left-handed starters in their last 13? They've won 13 straight games against left-handed starting pitchers.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, man.
I mean, they are right-handed heavy, but, I mean, who cares? The fact that you're winning every single time that you face a lefty, that means something.
It's true. And the biggest reason why you're seeing guys go more with that changeup and be more effective is, and I think I've said this before, the fastball isn't a factor anymore.
No, everyone knows, they know what's coming now.
Like you can throw 98 to 100 and these hitters are ready for it. They've seen it now consistently from almost every guy for how many years now. Having a fastball that's 100-something miles an hour isn't as effective as it used to be 5 years ago.
That's a dime a dozen now.
Which is exactly why you see Aroldis Chapman really perfecting that slider and how much more effective he's been now.
I mean, is this the first year for Aroldis Chapman where you can say he's not a thrower?
Yes,
I've said
that. I said that. He doesn't throw anymore. He's an actual pitcher.
He's not just throwing that slider to just get the hitters to not think about the fastball. He's throwing that slider because it's disgusting.
Right.
So, I mean, if he can he doesn't even really have to develop it that much more. But if he does start to lose velocity, I mean, this guy could be in the league for as long as he wants, as long as he's healthy.
Sure.
Knock wood.
I'm testing our chat here. I want some chatters. I don't know if we're gonna get any live calls, but who cares? I just put it up to have it up there. There we go. So now if someone chats with us.
Okay, Tony Brooklyn, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, we're on live. Okay.
Yeah, this is better. Now I got the right screen up here. Yeah. But don't look at it too long because it's delayed and it messes me up. Another thing I want to discuss about that series is Guerin. This guy's what's he on drugs? What did he do where he was like, you know what, Dad? I like the way you're showing me how to pitch, but I'm gonna do this thing with my foot where I'm gonna bring it back down and almost fucking break my ankle every time I throw.
I just don't get how he's gone this long. Well, apparently,
if umpires have to stop a game and go, you know what? Let me see it a few times.
Yeah, which was weird because they never give warnings like that.
It wasn't really a warning.
This was the same umpire crew that called him out on it in early May this season. But I wanted to talk about Guerin a little bit about mechanics. And
Hold on, before you do it, before you go into that, because I do want to go in depth with that. It wasn't a warning. I think it was someone on Seattle's bench because they got him from Seattle.
Yeah.
They knew what he was all about. I think they said something to the umpire, please watch, whatever. And when it became an issue where they actually said something, the umpire made him throw a couple pitches after they talked about it on the mound, threw a couple pitches. And, I'm sure it was they went up and reinforced what he's allowed to do, what he's not allowed to do. And he said something like, well, is this good? Does this work for you? And they did call a balk on one of them, but
yeah. And he never found it. Booney took him out of that game. Then he comes back and pitches, yesterday or Tuesday, and he allowed another run. And it just makes me think, like, I mean, how hard is this what's going on in this kid's head right now? I'd be freaking out if I was him.
Oh, yeah.
Because his numbers, I know that he was, DFA'd or whatever, and the Yankees picked him up because Seattle released him or waived him. I mean, dude, the kid was pitching to like a 3.92 ERA when he got signed to the Yankees.
He just seems like a liability. I think that's why.
When you're in the middle of a game and all of a sudden the umpire's telling you your mechanics are illegal, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to sleep at night.
It's literally like, how could you do that every pitch, right? In your career and be nervous that you're fucking up every single time and still be effective? I don't get it.
And that made me also think of, you know who Carter Capps is? Remember him? He's been out of the league a couple years.
He jumped.
How the hell is that?
He was on the Marlins.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he was traded to the Padres, and I think he had Tommy John. Hasn't been back since. But that's a guy. That guy literally, if you don't know Carter Capps is, look up his mechanics. He does this. He literally used to leap
from the mound to home plate when he threw.
What's how far away is the mound?
60 feet 6. 60 feet 6 inches.
He would make it like 57 feet with his hop step.
Oh yeah, easily.
But I mean, just like mechanics, man.
You wanted to talk about Guerin with me. I was a pitcher, right? I'm guessing you want to pick my brain on stuff with his mechanics.
Yeah, I just want to know what would you do in that situation? Like, what would you change your mechanics now, or would you just keep doing the same thing? Or
here's what happens. It's such a long process. Not that I've ever done it, but it's such a long process just to get through the minor leagues and make a name for yourself in the major leagues. On top of that, to get even at that far to be in professional baseball, you're working on the same things over and over again throughout your entire life. Now, I don't know when he picked up the fucking stutter step, but it's obviously been what worked for him. So when you've been effective with it for so long and seen success from it, you're not changing anything. But I honestly can't imagine how you can focus on pitching when every single pitch you're scared that you're doing something illegal.
And I mean, the rule book, because they put up that rule that they were saying that was, being put into effect with that, and it sounded like what he is doing is totally illegal.
Well,
what was it saying? It was like you can't lift your leg and put it back down.
it pretty much, the rule states that you can't, once you start your front set, it can't come back down before you go towards the plate. Here's why he got called for the balk, because it didn't look like much of a difference when they showed side by side when he got called the balk and when it was just a normal pitch that was okay. The one thing I noticed was on the balk call, when that front foot came down, his body was still back. He was not forward in his motion. And then when it lifted back up, that's when he started to come forward with the ball with his throwing hand and come towards the plate. When I looked at side by side again with the pitch that was okay, that wasn't called the balk, when that front foot did do that stutter and come down, he was already hands broken, ball coming forward, and almost releasing to home plate. So by the time his front leg came back up and went forward, he was already in that motion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it wasn't deceiving. But when you come back down and then you lift back up and then start going to finish your motion, that's when it becomes deceiving to the hitter or to the runner. And that's why he got called a balk. It was literally a millisecond.
Yeah, you noticed
Of
it was a
difference.
little difference on that.
It was a little
on
difference.
the balk. It was subtle.
And that's what I noticed. But to have to think about that, part of mechanics is muscle memory where you're not
Right.
thinking about things anymore.
That's what I wanted to.
The only time you have to think about mechanics
Point
at that
out.
point is if you're in a slump of some sort and you're
Mhm.
looking at video every single
Yeah,
day
maybe
and trying to figure out what you're doing differently
Maybe
or
you're
wrong.
tipping pitches
Exactly.
or something. You got to change something there.
But this guy has to think about it every single pitch he throws.
it's going to be interesting. I want to follow this guy's career because he probably won't. Be
If
with
he
the Yankees
continues
next
to
year.
have a good year this year and he knows he's a viable pitcher in the major leagues, he's really got to consider in the offseason working out his mechanics.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
trying to be effective without doing if you're effective doing it, I can't see why you couldn't work on being effective not doing it. You know?
It just sucks though, because you try doing that, then maybe it screws up with your head. Because there's, Markel Fultz, he was the first pick overall by the 76ers a couple of years ago. He changed his shot after he was drafted, and he never found his shot again, and he's been a bust. I think he's on the Magic now, Orlando Magic.
Really?
Yeah, so you change one thing, you don't know what that's
Sure.
going to do to your muscle memory. You don't know what it's going to do to
Yeah.
your brain.
But at this point, like that's why I said he's got to have a really good year where he knows he has a future in the major leagues, because if he does that and he says, maybe I can build on this, let me try and change something.
Yeah.
But if not, then just go work somewhere else and just
Seriously,
stop.
man.
All right. I don't want to be too much longer here. Let's just preview the next series. Me and Stat Guy Rye will be at the game with our family on Sunday. If you want to come, if you're going to be there,
Yeah, hit us up.
you want to come hang out for a couple innings, tweet us right in the center of the video here. You can see where to follow us on Twitter. Follow the main account, 8,000 plus followers at NYY Sports Talk, at Christian_NYYST, at Chris Jr. _NYYST, that's me, and at Stat Guy Rye _NYYST. Give him some follows, man. You're almost at 600. You're getting there.
I just don't like Twitter.
I
man.
hated Twitter, but you got to just keep going with it.
Yeah, that's a lot with social media. You don't really like it at first, and then maybe
I hate social media in general.
I'm sick of social media.
If we didn't do this podcast, I would be done with social media.
Yeah,
I would.
I was reading some article today, like how social media is really driving up our stress.
I
And
don't
We try to combat our stress by using social media, and it just makes it worse. It's like a vicious.
Yeah, you want to know
cycle.
why? Because there's a bunch of fucking nutcases.
I know, man. But there's also just trolls too, and you can't tell the difference.
Nutcases.
Yeah, I know.
You're not.
I
If you
differentiate
go on
between the two.
If you go on social media, sorry if I offend anyone who actually does this. If you go on social media and go, you know what? I'm gonna fuck around.
Yeah,
just
but it's
really
kinda fun.
hope-
I don't troll.
It is fun. I did it to Christian. That was fun. I would never take hours out of my day to fucking fuck with people.
Yeah, I feel like maybe if I was younger, if I was a teenager, I might do it. But I feel, you get to our age now, it's
but
like,
yeah, but that's the thing. We think we're talking to people our age all the
yeah,
time.
50% of Twitter is teenagers.
How many 12-year-olds have Twitters now and stuff? Like some fucking guy. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
I tweeted out the video of that strike call on Judge the other day. It was literally in the dirt, and the guy goes, "You ever heard of fucking framing pitches? What are you fucking out of your? The ball almost hit the dirt.
Like,
you framing a pitch?
You clearly don't watch a lot of baseball.
Yeah, okay. I watch every fucking pitch. You jerk off.
Because this happens all over the league. It does.
It
Umpires
does.
surely miss a lot of calls, but
I don't
no
complain
one.
about all calls. I complain about Judge the most because it's a known fact and stat out there that he has the most blown calls against him of anyone. Something's got to change. You can't just allow that to keep happening.
And you said
that's not an excuse. His height isn't. The umpires can't just say, "Yeah, well, he's really tall, so it's going to keep happening."
tough.
Something has to fucking change.
Well, what can change is something that you brought up in our group chat, is that you're actually maybe leaning towards the robot umps, huh?
I think I said that out of anger.
Yeah.
I would never want that.
Heat of the moment.
Yes.
Oh, I want it so bad.
So we'll be at the game Sunday. Hit us up on Twitter. Come hang out. The person who runs the Respect to Jeter account at Respect to Jeter, that's RE2 Pecht 2 Jeter. He's actually gonna be at the game, so we're gonna meet up with him for an inning or so.
Cool.
But yeah,
and we're getting Mike Messina t-shirts because it's Mike.
That's
Messina
another thing I wanted to say
Hall
about
of Fame
Gearin.
Day.
He fucking looks just like Messina, man. It's scary.
Yeah, once you said that, because we were watching that game together, that Balk game. Yeah, he looks a lot like Mike Messina. It's pretty crazy, and he's also wearing number 35.
So one thing I like to end the show with, as I do the preview, I like to give a quick prediction. I did the Hap line, which I was pretty much dead on. Like I couldn't have gotten much closer without hitting it on the head. And then I said Sheffield would give up 7 runs to the Yankees. Then I stopped and said it will be between 5 and 7, but since I said 7, I'll stick with that.
Okay.
I did say 5 and 7. He gave up 5 runs. He actually looked really good though. He looked good.
Yeah, his first couple innings, he was striking everybody out.
But you lost.
I didn't like how his demeanor. I'm kind of glad. Like, I know it's a very small sample size. I haven't really watched him pitch
He's also
that much.
still very young.
I just when he struck someone out, he would do his like lap around the mound, stare down into the batter's box. Like, come on, dude. I don't know. I really hate that kind of stuff in baseball, unless it's on my team.
Of course. Like when Chapman just stares.
Oh
in
yeah,
after.
I would hate that if I wasn't a Yankee fan.
So we got tomorrow night. We got CC versus Anderson. Saturday we have Domingo Germán versus Homer Bailey again, which the Yankees owe Homer Bailey an ass whooping.
You mean Christian Bailey?
Christian Bailey. They owe him an ass whooping.
Yeah, really. Come on, it's Homer Bailey. The guy's first name is Homer.
If Homer Bailey is through the 4th inning and coming out for the 5th, I'm pissed.
Yeah, same.
You better knock his ass the fuck out in the 4th inning minimum.
Who are we seeing?
Maximum, I mean. And then we're seeing Hap versus Fires.
Cool.
So
Fires, there's a little bad blood between him and Stanton, but Stanton won't be
here's
playing.
my prediction. This is kind of bold because the A's are just every year lately they just go on a tear after the All-Star break. My prediction that I'm going to throw out there, the Yankees sweep back. They give back the sweep. I think the Yankees take all 3 games. I think the Germán Homer Bailey game is a lopsided blowout. I think they win that game 12-2.
Yeah, the pitching matchups certainly favor the Yankees, I'd say. I think the Hap Fires matchup is.
I think Hap Fires. This isn't part of my prediction.
Up.
I'm just spitfiring here. You know, I think we could see an extra inning game. I see a back and forth, not necessarily high scoring, but I see a back and forth battle, where we can see a close game late and maybe possibly extra innings. But my prediction will be, what I'm going to throw out there. Yankees give back the sweep.
I'm going to go with a 2 out of 3, and I hope this doesn't happen. And usually I bring good luck to the stadium. They usually don't lose when Stat Guy arrives at the game. but I think they're going to lose that third game. Hap's going to
Wow, that's
give
fucked
up
up.
some dingers.
I might not go then.
Oh,
We'll see. Now it's a win-win. If they win,
Win-win.
whatever, man.
All right, so I'll probably be back with this with a bonus episode after that series, unless I find some time over the weekend. But we're doing our main show Saturday this week to drop for either Saturday night or Sunday. Again, leave us a rating and review on iTunes, anywhere you listen. Subscribe. You can find us if you're watching the video. You can see everywhere. You can find us literally anywhere. Just fucking go anywhere. If you go to NYYSportstalk.com/NYYST-podcast, I set it up so that you can just click a button anywhere you listen to subscribe. If you like to watch podcasts, go to our YouTube channel, the NYYST YouTube channel, subscribe there. And like I said, I'll probably be back if Stat Guy rides around and wants to do it again. I don't necessarily like doing shows alone.
I like when you're alone, though. I like listening just you.
Yeah, no, it's not difficult for me. I like having dialogue, though, at least once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll obviously be alone more because I'm trying to do them later in the night. But if we ever have time to just bang them out, if Christian's around and whatever, we're just going to keep throwing episodes out there.
Yeah, might as well. We're getting into the home stretch here, dude.
So unless you got anything you want to say, probably be back after that. And make sure you keep an eye out for the NYYST main show coming out, I believe, Sunday morning.
Cool.
All right. Let's go for that sweep.
Let's
and again, if you're at the game Sunday, hit us up.
Yeah, seriously.
We will be there. We can hang out for a few innings. I'll buy you a beer.
And thank you to anyone who decided to watch us.
And
brothers.
And you can watch us all
Yankee
over
baseball.
again on YouTube in a little bit. So
Start it up again.
All right, guys. We out.
Peace.